I work in tech support for a computer company. 7 years of this job. I thought I had seen everything. Then last Tuesday, a man called saying his brand new laptop completely stopped working. The laptop cost $1,200. He was furious. He demanded a replacement or refund. I started diagnostic questions. Are any indicator lights showing? No. Do you hear sounds when you press the power button? No. Is the laptop plugged into the charger? Yes, of course. I walked him through checking connections. Everything seemed correct. I asked him to try a different outlet. He said he could not. I asked why not. He said it is too dark in the room to see the outlets. I asked why it was dark. He said the electricity is out in the whole house. I asked when it went out. He said 3 days ago. I asked why. He had not paid the electric bill in 3 months, so the power company cut his service. I tried to explain gently. Sir, your laptop needs electricity to charge. If your house has no power, the laptop cannot charge. That is why it is not turning on. He said, but I plugged it into the wall like you're supposed to. I explained the outlet needs electricity flowing to it. Without power, the outlet is just a hole in the wall. The man became angry. The laptop was defective. It should hold a charge longer than 3 days. I explained laptop batteries typically last 4 to 8 hours. 3 days without charging would drain any battery. He said this was false advertising. The laptop was marketed as portable. Portable means it should work anywhere, without needing to be plugged in. Forever. I spent 30 minutes trying to explain basic concepts. He refused to accept the laptop was fine. Eventually, my manager had to tell him we could not help until he had electricity. He hung up threatening to sue. That was the moment I realized some people should not be allowed to own technology. A woman named Maria works tech support for a monitor manufacturer. One afternoon, she got a call from a man named Robert. He had purchased a 27-inch monitor 2 days ago. $400. Premium model. He was calling because the monitor was not working. Robert said he bought the monitor to access the internet. He brought it home, unpacked it, plugged it into the wall, turned it on. But all he sees is a black screen. No internet. Nothing. Maria asked what else the monitor was connected to. Robert said, to the wall. To electricity. The instructions said, plug it into power. That is all. Maria felt a sinking feeling. Is the monitor connected to a computer? Robert said no. Why would it need a computer? I bought a monitor, not a computer. Maria took a breath. She explained a monitor is a display device. It shows images sent from another device, like a computer, or laptop, or gaming console. The monitor itself does not generate content. It just displays what another device tells it to show. Robert was silent. Then he said, nobody told me that. The salesperson did not mention it. The box does not say that. The advertisement did not say, I need to buy a computer too. Maria said, the product is called a monitor. Monitors are accessories for computers. They are not standalone devices. Robert said, but it has an on button and a menu and settings. It is clearly a device that does things. Maria tried a different approach. Think of a monitor like a television screen. The screen itself does not create shows. It displays shows from cable or streaming devices. A monitor is the same. It displays content from a computer. Robert said, but I do not have a computer. I just wanted to browse the internet. The advertisement showed someone using the internet on this monitor. Maria asked if Robert owned any computers, any laptops, any tablets. He said no, just a smartphone. He specifically bought the monitor because he thought it would be bigger and easier than his phone for internet browsing. Maria explained he would need to purchase a computer to use the monitor. The monitor alone cannot connect to the internet or run programs. Robert became frustrated. So this $400 device does nothing by itself. It is just a screen. Maria said yes, that is correct. Robert said this was outrageous. False advertising. A scam. Maria patiently explained monitor descriptions clearly indicate they are display devices for computers. The product category is computer monitors. Features like HDMI ports and display resolution are not features of standalone internet devices. Robert said, "I do not know what HDMI means. I just saw a big nice screen." For the next hour, Robert tried to find a way to make the monitor work without a computer. He asked if there was a setting. Maria said no. He asked if he could download software onto it. Maria explained the monitor has no operating system, no storage. It is just a screen. He asked if he could connect his smartphone. Maria said yes, actually, with the right cable. Robert got excited. Maria explained he would need a USB-C to HDMI cable, probably $15 to $30. Robert said, "So now I have to spend more money. This is ridiculous." Robert demanded a refund. The product was incomplete, misleading. It should work out of the box. Maria explained the monitor does work perfectly as a monitor, but monitors require a source device. Robert said that should have been made clear. The call ended with Robert saying he would return it and leave a bad review. 3 days later, the review appeared. 1 star. This monitor is useless without a computer. Nowhere in the description does it say you need to buy additional equipment. Complete scam. Does not connect to the internet on its own. Does not come with keyboard or mouse. Just an expensive black rectangle. Do not recommend. Other customers replied trying to explain what monitors are. Robert replied to each insisting he was right. Companies should make it clearer that monitors are not complete products. Average consumers do not know technical jargon. If a product needs other products to function, that should be written in big letters on the box. Robert never accepted that he had simply misunderstood what a monitor is. My friend James works tech support for a banking app. One customer stands out. A woman named Deborah. Deborah called every single week for 3 months. Always the same problem. She forgot her password. Every time James or another agent would help her reset it. 1 week later, same problem. After the 15th call, James gently suggested Deborah write down her password. Deborah refused immediately. That was not secure. What if someone found the paper? James suggested a password manager. Deborah said absolutely not. She did not trust technology to store passwords. James found this ironic, considering she was calling about passwords for technology. He asked how she remembered passwords for other sites. Deborah said she used the same password for everything. Her dog Maxwell's birthday. March 7th, 2012. 03072012. She said this out loud. Over the phone. To a stranger. James gently explained using the same password everywhere was dangerous. Deborah said, "Well, then I would need different passwords and I would forget them even more." James suggested security questions. Questions only she would know. They spent 20 minutes setting up questions. What was the name of your first pet? What city were you born in? What is your mother's maiden name? Deborah answered each one. They saved the settings. 1 week later, Deborah called again. She forgot her password. James said they could use the security questions. He asked the first question. What was the name of your first pet? Deborah said, "Oh dear, I do not remember. Was it a dog or a cat?" After 5 minutes of wrong answers, James moved to the next question. What city were you born in? Deborah said, "I was born in either Springfield or Shelbyville. I always get them confused." James realized security questions were not going to work. He reset them with new simple questions. What is your favorite color? Blue. What is your current pet's name? Maxwell. What street do you live on? Oak Street. 2 weeks later, Deborah called. She forgot her password and the answers. James asked how she could forget her favorite color. Deborah said, "I was not sure if I said blue or green. I like both." James tried a new approach. He asked what would make passwords easy for her. Deborah said, "Is there a way the app could just know it is me? Without all these passwords? This is my phone. My voice. Is that not enough?" James explained digital security requires verification. Passwords protect her money. Deborah found it all so complicated. James suggested one more option. Write the password on paper and keep it in a locked safe. Deborah said she had a safe. They reset her password. 2 weeks went by. No call. 3 weeks. 4 weeks. Then Deborah called. She forgot her password, but she had written it down. She put it in her safe. The problem was she forgot the combination to the safe. James sighed internally. He suggested keeping the password on a piece of paper in her wallet. She checks her wallet every day. Deborah worried someone might steal her wallet. James said if someone steals her wallet, she would cancel her cards immediately anyway. Deborah thought about this. She agreed. They reset her password one final time. Deborah wrote it on a small card and put it in her wallet. That was 6 months ago. Deborah has not called since. James considers this his greatest professional achievement. After sharing these stories with other tech support workers, I started collecting the best ones. Every person in tech support has stories that make you question humanity. These are the tales that live in infamy. Story 1. A man called saying his cup holder broke. The tech support agent was confused. Computers do not have cup holders. After 10 minutes, they realized the man was using the CD-ROM tray as a cup holder for his coffee mug. He would press eject, the tray would slide out, and he would rest his mug on it. When told this was for CDs, he said, "Then why does it come out at the perfect height for a cup?" Story 2. A woman called saying her mouse was not working. The agent asked her to describe what she was doing. She said she was moving the mouse around on the monitor screen, but the cursor was not moving. The agent explained the mouse should be moved on the desk surface, not the screen. The woman said, "That does not make sense. The cursor is on the screen. Why would I move the mouse somewhere else?" Story 3. A user could not continue software installation. The instruction said, "Press any key to continue." He sat there for 30 minutes looking at his keyboard. He called support saying he could not find the any key. Where is it located? The agent asked him to press the spacebar. He did. The installation continued. He said the instructions should just say press spacebar. The any key does not exist. Story 4. A customer complained his Wi-Fi was not working. After troubleshooting, the agent asked if his router was plugged in. He said yes. The agent asked if the lights on the router were on. He said he could not tell because it was dark. The agent asked why it was dark. The electricity was out. The agent explained Wi-Fi requires electricity. The customer said that was ridiculous. Wi-Fi is wireless. It should work without wires or electricity. Story 5. A man called in panic saying his account was hacked. Someone kept logging in from different locations. The support agent asked about his password security. The man explained his system. When websites asked for his password, he would call his friend on speakerphone and say the password out loud. His friend would confirm if it was the right password for that site. The agent asked if he realized saying passwords out loud over the phone was insecure. The man said, "But it is just my friend. We trust each other." Story 6. A woman demanded a technician come to her house and make the internet faster. When told that is not how internet speed works, she said she paid good money and deserved premium service. The agent explained her internet plan had a specific speed tier. If she wanted faster speeds, she could upgrade. The woman said she should not have to pay more. The internet should just be faster. Story 7. A user was worried about his cloud storage during a rainstorm. He asked if his files would be safe if the cloud got too wet. When the agent explained cloud storage is not an actual cloud in the sky, but servers in a data center, the user did not believe it. He said, "Then why is it called cloud storage? That is misleading." Story 8. A man downloaded a virus after clicking a pop-up that said, "Your computer has virus, click here to fix." He clicked because the website seemed to know his computer had a virus. How else would they know unless they detected it? The agent explained that was a scam. Websites cannot scan your computer for viruses. The man said, "But it said I had a virus." How did they know? Story 9. An advanced user decided to free up disk space. He noticed a folder called System 32 taking up room. He did not recognize it. so he deleted it. His computer immediately stopped functioning. He called asking why deleting one folder would break everything. The agent explained, "System 32 contains critical operating system files." The man said, "Then why does Windows let you delete it?" That is a design flaw. Story 10. A woman called saying her laptop was extremely slow. The support agent asked how many programs she had running. She said just her web browser. The agent asked how many tabs were open. The woman said, "Oh, I do not know." A lot. After checking, she said, 847. The agent asked her to repeat that. 847 tabs. She never closed tabs. She only opened new ones. Some tabs had been open for 3 years. After collecting these stories, a veteran tech support worker with 20 years' experience wrote an essay that became famous. He wrote, "Tech support does not teach you about technology. It teaches you about people. It teaches you patience. Because every single day you talk to people who refuse to read instructions, who refuse to Google solutions, who refuse to apply basic logic. And you must remain polite and professional while someone screams at you that their computer is broken because they accidentally turned off the monitor." He continued, "The hard part is not the technical problems. Technical problems have solutions. The hard part is explaining the same thing 10 times and having the person call back next week with the same issue. Or when they blame you because technology is too complicated instead of spending 5 minutes reading a simple manual. People want technology to work without understanding it, without effort, without learning." Another support worker added, "The worst customers are not the ones who do not know things. Everyone starts somewhere. The worst customers are the ones who refuse to learn, who argue with you when you try to help, who insist their wrong understanding is correct and your expert knowledge is wrong. I once spent 40 minutes explaining why you cannot download more RAM. The customer insisted you could. He had seen advertisements. He left the call convinced I was lying." The original writer concluded, "Tech support exists because people want the benefits of technology without the responsibility of understanding it. They want devices that work perfectly all the time with zero maintenance or knowledge required. But technology is not magic. It is tools that require basic understanding. My job is to bridge that gap. To be patient with people who cannot or will not learn. Some days I feel like a teacher. Some days I feel like a therapist. Most days I feel like I am trying to explain color to someone who insists the sky is not blue because they personally have never looked up.